Hello, welcome back to actual play. Blades in the Dark, the Rusted Lock. Oh my goodness! Every single time I'm about to play this game, I get butterflies in my stomach because I'm just so excited to see you, wonderful folks, and to play this amazing game and to hang out with cool folks in chat. I'm Sean. I use he/him pronouns. You can find me everywhere at as Sean Nittner. Our show tonight, as always, proceeds from it go to support the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund and Black Lives Matter. If you give us money, that's where it's going. So maybe hit that sub button, maybe hit the cheers, maybe do the thanks. I'm playing Ankh. Last session, she made a deal with the Lord of the Depths to find a new home in the world for them. And she's currently hosting them in her body somehow. And also, the Lord of the Depths is Athea's parent ish. So I'm your mom. Just saying. Hashtag Sean's my mom was a hashtag going around for a while, so I think it's legit. I also think there should be a scene tonight where we're actually playing as the Lord of the Depths and Athea having mother-child issues. I don't know. That's probably too weird. This is bizarre. So, yeah, so excited about this game. And last time we finished the score, but we did not get into downtime. So this time we will do payoff and heat and entanglements and downtime and free play and maybe start another score and maybe not. We will see. That's all my stuff. How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, so I'm Jamie. My pronouns are he, they, and I am so lucky to be the GM for this wonderful cult of misfits. This pair that chooses to almost never resist any consequences. So you can find me on Twitter at Temporal Hiccup, and I'm really excited to get in today and hearing Sean talk about all this stuff. I remember all the stuff that I made up in the moment as a GM, which of course was all part of the plan all along. I just had all of this in a notebook that I absolutely have because I absolutely prep for my games. But yeah, so that's me. How about you, Kristen?
I'm still laughing at hashtag Sean is my mom, so I guess that's going to be a thing that we tweet about soon. I am Kristen, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Kristen is no Jedi. I play Penance in this wonderful game. My character is the Leech. And last session, we met a Skinwalker. Ankh and Penance did a lot of hand-holding, stabbed something with a golden dagger. I'm sure tonight will be much less intense and there'll be no consequences from our actions from last game. So are we, that's it for me. Are we jumping into downtime, Jeremy?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to review our payoff and everything, let me just pull up the Discord. Let's see. Where did I write everything?
I think we did it in scores. Friends, we have the biggest for only having 3 people on it, we have an extremely active Discord channel. Yeah, it's in scores. If you go up just a little bit.
There we go.
We're super organized, Jamie. Items are bolded and everything. Yep.
There you go. So we decided that retroactively, Mateus decided to pay. This is for the book that was unfortunately destroyed because Mateus, your patron, well, he sees himself as your patron, loves magical artifacts, right?
Yeah. So that was also part of the question was how destroyed is the book? Is it completely obliterated? Or is there bits of it that we can bring back and tell him we could restore? What do you think?
I'm going to make a fortune roll just to see.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I rarely get to roll as a GM, so might as well sometimes. Okay, so I'm just pulling up the sheet. I'll use the crew sheet and make a fortune roll there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so let's say one die
to determine the level of destruction, or is this a roll to determine the level of intactness?
Level of intactness. I
Okay,
would
so
say.
high roll is there's a
Yes.
significant amount of book left. Low roll is ashes.
Yes, 100%.
Got it. Cool.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Whoa. Well done.
I mean, if I could say this dagger has the ability to penetrate anything, did it just cleave it in half and thus breaking the
Ooh, yeah, the spine, right?
spine, which is an integral part of it? It can't function. It's an artifact. It needs to be restored, but like the pages are ostensibly intact. Does that seem?
Ooh, I kind of like the idea of like what happened was each of the stepsisters, like one got one side of the book and the other one got the other side of the book.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I like that.
Awesome. Okay, so I think it'll be fair to say that it'll be fairly straightforward to fix the book, right? So Matthias did pay both of you 6 coin for the book, right? And then in terms of rep, because
I was saying about the coin, did you put it on there already? Because I didn't think we had any on the
I put one for each of you, and then I put the rest in the crew sheet.
Oh, wow.
So you have 4 coin right now in the crew sheet, and then 1 each.
Excellent.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And notably, we have a vault, so we can even.
Oh, we do.
That's
right. I forgot.
Just that 4 that limit of 4 is not. But yeah, I think it's.
Nice. All right, and then aside from that, so in terms of rep, because you went up against, no big deal, just like the avatar of a god that's been chained to a place.
Yeah.
Totally, totally normal. And this very mysterious lily blood who just collects skins every so often, no big deal. So you went up against some high tier people. Some of them were tier 3 folks. So you got 6 rep in total. And then we went back and forth on it. I really like what Sean typed up in the Discord in terms of like where we could go in terms of heat.
Yeah. I mean, I really could see it being like, oh, did you hear that splash? Like nobody knows because it'll happen in the ghost field, or like spirit wardens, klaxons going off, wah, 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 forgotten god freed, demon freed, forgotten god returned to the depths, void seed disturbed, That's how spirit wardens talk in my mind. Hello, I have to tell you something.
They're much more enthusiastic about their jobs than I had originally pictured, but forever now.
You thought they'd be stony faced, like, I have something grave to tell you.
It was very unimaginative of me. This makes much more sense, Sean.
It's more like Evangelion or those mecha shows where people are panicking by the screens.
Yeah. I think the spirit wardens are probably really calm, cool, and collected, but the people who work in the crematorium that are like the spirit warden like admin staff that are like reading the death crow signs and whatnot, I think they're the ones that are probably
freaking out a bit.
Yeah, spirits now at jazz hands.
100%. 100%. But yeah, so I think it was fair to say that we went to 5 heat, right? Mm-hmm. For dropping a god into the river and releasing a demon, but also +1 heat for how well connected Lily Blood is to the terrible things going on in Duskfall. So 6 heat. And in terms of claims, we have some really exciting stuff to discuss with claims. I liked everything that Sean brought up for possibilities with that. So we can look into that. And for status change, this is what I forgot to do in the Roll20. Increase our standing with the... Yeah, go ahead and please.
Pause for a second to talk about the claims.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's do that.
So both Kirsten and I were like, ghost houses? You go what? Like when we went into the Dimmer Sisters house, we were both like, I love this place. Mm-hmm. And then we went into the Skinwalkers domicile and we're like, I love this place too. And now that place is like in me. and it needs to be like placed somewhere so it can take, so the ghost field that the Lord of the Depths sort of occupies, its own little pocket ghost field, as I understand it, can like take up residence. It can't live in a person. In fact, I imagine that long-term being contained in a person is probably really bad for them. Probably eats away at their innards. Probably starts turning them into stone or something. I don't know. It's probably really bad. Just saying, for someone who just walks around with a ghost in her and BD. So the thought is, well, let's not just like let loose the Lord of the Depths anywhere. We want a ghost house. Ghost houses are super cool. Maybe that could be an offertorium. Maybe it could be a sanctuary. Maybe it could be an ancient gate. Those are all things that are kind of reachable on our claims grid, right up, right here or here or here. Or if we were really kind of vanilla about it, we could call it just turf. But I mean, I think it's too cool to just call it just turf. So it could be ghost turf, right? But anyway, but it's not done yet. We need to like find a physical location for it to go, which is kind of where I'm angling score wise. But So sorry, go on.
No. I think that's super cool. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, and in terms of score, we can definitely have a score that covers more than one thing. So something that helps claim turf, a specific kind of turf for the Lord of Depths, and does something else, right? And addresses something else. I'm sure we can come up with something. So, but yeah. All right, and then we also have our status change. So the Dimmer sisters are very happy that you dealt with someone who used to work closely with the Dimmer sisters. We're not sure exactly what Lily's story is. So, Sean, would you mind like increasing?
Yeah, so we're -1 with them before, and so now we're going to neutral with them.
Nice.
Which is a big improvement. We were at war.
I was just going to say, we were at war one session.
Awesome. This is Blades in the Dark, right?
Yeah. I mean, your enemies or your friends or that all changes. Yeah.
Neutral. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we also increased our standing with the Forgotten Gods, which I think we don't have on the board yet. Actually,
I'm going to go ahead and add them. I do this thing where I keep track of all of them, both in this sheet, which is like the official one, but it's we never see it. And also on the main sheet here. So I'll add the Forgotten Gods. Friends, if you happen to use Roll20, you have all of this cool stuff at your disposal. You can copy these bits and paste them and then change them, and the rollable tables. Come on. I say you can paste. Come on. Paste. Well, maybe you can. if I can figure out how to use copy paste on my computer, then yeah. So anyway, let's try this again. Copy. So now we're at +1 status with them. Is that?
Yeah.
Nice. They like us.
Oh, the arc vendors don't care for us much. I wonder why.
What?
Yeah, totally a misunderstanding.
It's just a 2. It's fine.
Totally unjustified.
Yeah. Did we lose status to anybody, Jamie? Or are the people affected not part of factions? Because I'm sure Lily Blood is not pleased with us, but I don't know if she represents a faction.
Ooh. Oh, that's a really... I'll have to... Let me take a quick look.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
We can figure it out retroactively once you've had a chance to look at it. It's fine to, decide later on.
Yeah. Sounds good. But yeah, so and then I'm just opening it up to the page so I can take a look at it later. Because I literally have the compendium in Roll20 open, the PDF open, and the book open, because why not?
Sounds exactly correct.
All right, and then I think I think that's it, right? And then we got to roll for entanglements, and what came up was the usual suspects, right? So, which means that one of us says who got picked up by the blue coats.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find it for some reason. Okay, it's probably not readable on stream. Sorry for that, friends. But yes, the blue coats grab someone on the periphery of your crew. One player volunteers a friend or vice purveyor as the person most likely to be picked up. And I think, Jeremy, are you sure we didn't get interrogation? I'm sorry.
Ooh,
Just because our heat was so high.
Ooh, are we still not at 0 to 2? Did I? Oh, nope. I confused it with wanted level.
Right. Our wanted level is 1, so you roll 1 die, but our heat
Yes.
is super high.
That's right. So what did we end up hitting instead?
What did we high?
What did we end up hitting instead? We hit.
I think you get flipped or interrogation.
Oh yeah, I think it is when you fill up your wanted your heat track, right?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So it's like it's just much worse. Now that I think about it, totally fine. Not a problem.
Not
a big deal. Let me just. I'm trying to read the description. Sean, would you mind reading it for me first?
For sure. Which one do you want? Flipped or interrogation?
Ooh.
I can read them both.
Yeah.
Here's our option. Flipped. One of your contacts, patrons, clients, or a group of your customers switches allegiances due to heat on you. They're loyal to another faction now. Or interrogation, which I think we could just slip in as just a very worse version of the usual suspects, which is the Bluecoats round up one of the PCs to question them about the crew's crimes. How did they manage to capture you? Pay them off with 3 coin, or they beat you up, level 2 harm, and tell you what they want to know, plus 3 heat. You can resist those consequences, each of those consequences separately. We were going to give up Grounder, and Grounder is technically a PC. So if we want to stick with the someone gets rounded up by the Bluecoats, interrogation is just a much worse version than the usual suspects. It's not just questioning; it's full-on interrogation.
Yeah. How do we feel about that? If poor Grounder gets interrogated,
I think it's great. I think it makes total sense. As you know, not that I believe terribly in like character monogamy, but like I feel very comfortable as the only person who's played Grounder to say,
yeah. I think poor Grounder was about to get on the train, right? Was about to like go in for a shift.
Yeah, I think
when
he
the
saw
Bluecoats came. Yeah,
some spirit wardens talking to some Bluecoats, and they pointed at him, and then he realized that like some other railjack had like turned their brim across the way when he passed by, and he should have read that as a sign to get GTFO, but he didn't pay attention because he was having a good day. And
I think there's even a moment where Sophia, our other railjack, was trying to like force her way through to do something about it. But there may have been a moment from Grounder, like another sign, like no, just stay out of this.
I love it.
What do you think? I mean, Grounder's your character, but I feel like he wouldn't want to.
No, please. Let's beat up poor Groundy. Tim says, "Is this a table read for the upcoming Blades in the Dark television show?" Yeah, good question. I think so, Tim. Absolutely. This is the writers' room. If anyone hasn't heard the news, Wave, a UK-based studio, has picked up Blades in the Dark to make a television show about it. It's still a long ways off. Who knows what the future of it is, but how freaking cool is that? Awesome. Yeah, exactly. We're just this is just writer's room stuff.
Yeah, we're spitballing here.
Yeah. I totally think Grounder is dragged off. I don't think he puts up a fight. I think he gets a horrible goose egg baton whack to the head and another 1 or 2 to the guts just to show that you don't mess with the Bluecoats. And I think he's dragged off in chains and taken for interrogation. And I think although the Bluecoats administer it, I bet there's a spirit warden there to like make sure no ghosty activity is happening and that kind of thing. because he's kind of a known offender in the possession circles. Like he's had a bad possession before, and
Right.
and like it was there and then it was gone because he didn't go to the official channels to get it removed. He went to the Jimmer sisters. So yeah, I think it's ugly for Grounder. I think that interaction is the most pleasant one he has with the Blue Coats. That first one.
Yeah, and I kind of want to say, because Kristen, I know you were interested in Penance doing things outside of Athea's attention for your downtime actions.
Yes.
I think it might be fair to say that we just see Athea watching poor Grounder.
Oh.
Because they did have a moment last time.
Yeah, they did. Right. Well, it was he talked about a really bad possession he had and really heavily hinted that it might have been Athea that was the one who possessed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we cut back to all the Blue Coats like looking at the suspects that they can bring in, and Athea just whispering his name over and over again. You know, not sinister at all.
I have a mean word to say about her. That not very nice person.
Oh, Athea.
But anyway, Penance, you're free from, she's busy, right? So Athea's very busy, attending to her own business, right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to resist any of these consequences? Are we going to pay coin? What do we think?
Can we...
I like that Jam.
Can we wait a bit to answer that question until after we've done a downtime action or two?
Sounds good.
I'd like to think that these are happening kind of coterminously and we have the option to step in or not, but so
yeah. So we cut back to the lair, right? Where the two of you.
So. I think we cut back to us, if it's okay. I think we cut back to us, the hearse boat coming down the canal.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming down. I forget the river. It's not the Dusk. Oh, it's the Mist. We're coming down the Mist River, which is the eastern river around Dustfall, and we're like the lair is in like distantly in sight, and you see like this coming path, and I think Penance is like, because you have level 3 harm, like messed up, coughing, sputtering. I don't know, like I don't want to describe your character at all, Kristen, but like I feel like visibly messed up. Whatever it looks like.
Oh yeah.
And Ankh just kind of like, and like Violet is in the like Orchid is in the front, like guiding through the mists, and Violet is in the back with the rudder, but they're still like weirdly connected. Their motions still mirror one another in the mist. And Ankh like reaches over and like pulls on Violet's shirt from like sitting, and we see Orchid like turn her head, and then Ankh whispers something, and the boat like not suddenly but unexpectedly like turns into a different canal. And instead of arriving at the lair, it arrives at the dock side of an old decrepit building that we like, once the camera pivots around to the front of, we recognize as Scurlock Manor. We've only seen it from the front before. We haven't seen the dock side, the dock of it. But of course, Scurlock Manor has a dock. If you're anybody in Dustfall, you have a dock. And I think we're like pulling our bedraggled asses. I mean, I don't know, Kristen. I really don't want to deprotagonize Penance at all, but I don't know if like Ankh is like your arm over her shoulder, or if you're standing on your own, or like but like I think we're coughing and sputtering and like still just recently dealing with the drowning that we're both suffering as we make our way up into his.
I also suffer from poison spores, which is something only Jammy could make up and have be terrifying and cool at the same time. So I think Penance is like, I don't know. I like the idea that Penance has almost like little plants that are kind of growing on her skin on one side.
So cool, so cool.
Yeah, I think that's like and it's very painful. So yeah, Penance is leaning on Ankh, not doing well.
I added Skurlock Manor to our map because
nice.
Everything needs to go on the map. All characters need to be accounted for. Yeah, I love it. I love I love the idea that flowers are like blossoming out of your like sprouts.
Yep. Exactly.
And I just feel like they have to have thorns too. It's just
that's why I said it was painful, but I hadn't thought of why. That's why.
Yeah,
they have
I feel like that's got to be the kicker.
That's it.
Yeah. So I feel like there's like a big fucking gong on like the what would you call it? Like I think when you come up to like a private dock, there is like a boathouse, right? And if it was like well attended, there would probably be like somebody there. But I think we're having to like go through the boathouse and to like have like a big gong on the door that would like alert the occupant of the thing. But I imagine that when we slam it, there's some cool camera effects of like the whole like everything shuddering, but there's no noise. Like there's like ethereal ghost noise, but there's no like verbal
actual physical noise.
Yeah, but we just get like cool like ghost effect on the camera animation. Anyway, that's the frame. That's the scene I wanted to frame as far as us going to Skurlock.
Yeah, and I think the moment that the gong goes off, like what happens, the camera can see like all the windows of the manor, like all the curtains draw themselves in, right? And then the single door towards the boathouse opens up, and we see Skurlock standing by the door frame, and he's still wrapped in shadows, but you have this impression of like white hair, white lace, right? Very long fingernails and a glint against these dark glasses. And I have to stress, it's like the middle of the night, right? And it doesn't really get bright in dusk while period, but for someone to wear some form of like shades in this world means something. But yeah, and so I think we cut to, I want to ask, this is not the first time you've sought help from Skurlock, right? So what is it about the place that he creates for healing and help, right? That tells you that he's been at this for a very long time.
Oh, I love that. So I think he has this manor that was, in its heyday, probably housed like, it's not the biggest, but I think it's safe to say it could house like 20, 25 family members and all their attendant servants. So probably this place could have had like 75 people in it. Because I think there's like more than one servant per family member in general. And now it's got like 1+ ? Right? Like he's the only person we ever see in it. Maybe there's another attendant, maybe there's other forces, but so there's all these rooms, and they used to be, they're like still really beautifully decorated. It's not like they've like lost their vintage appeal, but it's a little bit like a house that was, I'm thinking of Downton Abbey, where they like converted the house into like a hospital during World War I, right? But that's happened like multiple times. Like over the course of like many, many, many generations, different rooms have slowly taken different forms. So it's like, well, yeah, 100 years ago, that room got turned into a place to take care of people like from this horrible ghost plague. And like 50 years ago, this room got turned into something to take with this other problem. So there's like whole like suites dedicated to like studying and ostensibly helping people with recovery for various different like horrific things that have happened. How's that sound?
Yeah, beautiful. I like it. And I think the room that you find yourselves in is, you could tell that at one point it was a drawing room, and then it became something to help patients with, and then it became another form of a drawing room, and now it's back into whatever strange space that it is. And in terms of like attendance, Skurlock seems to only have to look towards a certain area and think about what it is he needs, and then when you look away and look back, it's there, right? So you're not sure if there's like another servant in place or if it's something Skurlock is doing himself. I think Anki even may suspect like the Skurlock have their own avatar in this house. Is the house also responding to Skurlock? You're not really sure at this point, right?
I think it makes me self-conscious about the idea of bringing an avatar into the, like I hadn't thought about that, and then suddenly I'm like, oh shit, am I going to start a turf war here? Like, is this going to be a problem because you don't bring your forgotten god into somebody else's forgotten god house, right? Like that's bad. You leave that shit at the door, but I can't leave that shit at the door. So,
Yeah, and I think
she like self-consciously like pulls her shawl over her shoulders where the eyes are.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think Skurlock very carefully places Penance on this something like a day bed, and without looking at you, Skurlock says, "Ankh, I'll make sure to attend to you in the next moment." And you notice, Penance, that Skurlock is very careful when he touches you, just to make sure he seems to understand what pain you're in, and he, unlike other physicians that you've seen in the past and other healers, he makes no attempt or no question to take off your mask. Like he understands that it stays on no matter what, right? But he does ask you like a few questions just to make sure he understands what happened to you. And in the middle of those questions, Penance, he asks you, so I do have a question for you, my dear. And he makes sure that Ankh isn't quite in like hearing distance when he asks it. And he asks, so how is Ankh really? She won't ever tell me these things, you understand?
I think I think that as he's asking, Penance like doesn't say anything but flashes kind of like Ankh has left the room.
It's okay. I'm still here. I mean, just giving you your
Ankh is out of earshot. I think that Penance flashes back to all the instances in the house where Ankh and Penance ended up holding hands, and kind of blushes a little bit underneath her mask, but obviously does not share that. She's just remembering what occurred recently. And when she answers him, I think she doesn't know this man, so I think that she is untrusting and a little short with him. So in almost a questioning way, she just says, she's fine. Why do you ask?
And the Skurlock looks at you and says, I understand that Ankh can be quite difficult to get through to. And you can see like he chuckles a little bit under his breath as if it's an understatement. And he says, but you are the first person that Ankh has brought to me in order to help. And I don't think she would have done it unless you mattered a great deal to her. So I thought you would know. And I do worry about the poor girl, he says, smiling at you very gently.
Penance's heart definitely flutters a little at hearing from someone else that she might actually be of some importance to Ankh, or Ankh might care for her. But then I also think she remembers things that Thea has said, and also Ankh leaving. And so definitely some conflicting situations happening with our poor Penance. Yeah, I don't think she answers him. She is, I hate to cut the scene short. I just think Penance is really in a bad way. And I think that she is so untrustworthy that she probably laughs a little with him, but that's about it, unless he asks her more questions.
No, I think like from that point, Skurlock stands up, and it's the first time that we see him very clearly. So we see the long white hair, the delicate lace that he wears, the beautiful, like he has all these like gorgeous, very like, you can tell that these accessories are like custom made, and very old, very well taken care of, right? But there's a strange way that his eyes just keep glinting red in the dark that just don't quite make sense in this light. And so he places a hand against the wall, and there's a mechanism where the wall shifts downwards and pulls towards the side. And you can see there are all these beautiful glass bottles and cases, and he just very quickly like takes all of these different herbs and medicines and pulls them together, and he starts putting together a concoction. Every once in a while he turns to you, Penance, and he says, can we see how deeply you can have the intake of the breath? Right. And he places a hand near your neck to like take note, and he goes, okay, so less of this and more of that. And so he takes his time, and there are a few moments where he mutters, it could have been worse, I suppose. And so I think he's fairly skilled in terms of helping you recover. Skurlock has seen a lot over his considerable lifetime. We'll just call it that. So
his considerable existence. I don't know.
Existence. There you go. Existence.
Yeah.
I was being polite. Right?
I mean, I would argue he's a tier 3 factional on his own.
Right.
And he's a friend, and if you do a downtime action with a friend, so I'm going to advocate for getting 4 dice unfortunate roll with him. That sounds good. Yeah. And I'm more than happy for that to come with strings attached. Like I'm not under the impression that this is just a freebie from him, but like you know.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately with Skurlock, he won't ask if you're okay with the price first. He'll just go ahead and do it first, and then let you know what the price is afterwards.
Sounds right.
Absolutely.
As he's healing Penance, whenever he gets to the this plant, these thorny flowers that are growing out of Penance's skin, I think she asks him if he can put one in a jar for her to take, because she wants to study it to see if she can figure out anything she might be able to use from it at a later date. I think Penance might have a little like vengefulness in her, in case we haven't talked about that already.
In case it wasn't obvious. I think when you ask that, we see like he's not surprised, but he does start for a moment, and he says, I can see why you and I get along so well, he says. Before he does take out another glass bottle, but he looks at you, Penance, and he says, these seeds from the Children of Flowers can be quite troublesome. And you're surprised that he seems to know exactly what he's talking about, what he's looking at, right? Yeah. And he says, if there is a moment when the seed starts to show sentience, I would have it destroyed. But I will not presume to tell you what to do. Just know that all of the flowers are connected in some fashion.
Nice.
But he does set it aside for you.
Just keep your bloom under control. Just, prune it. Yeah, I think it's really particularly interesting for you individually as Penance. Not only that you would want to like find a way to use this, but you have the venomous, ability, which says choose a drug or poison from your bandolier stock to which you have become immune. You can push yourself to secrete it through your skin or saliva, or to exhale it as a vapor. In the text, I believe I'd have to pull it up in ye old handy book. It says you can spend a downtime action to change what drug or poison that is. So you have had standstill as your drug of choice, but I mean, I feel like you have the exact right special ability to be able to spend a downtime action saying you're studying it, learning about it, and become immune to it, and can in fact excrete it yourself. I mean, if you want. I just
Yeah.
feel like it's so just perfect for your character.
Yeah, that is really cool. And can I then, and we don't have to do it right now in an action, but can I then, that would be a long-term clock, right? Or long-term project?
I mean, if it was just a regular drug or poison, it would just be a downtime action. You just do it and you'd have
Right.
it. But because this is like sentient and all that, I
Studying it,
think
yeah.
it would make sense to first do a downtime long-term project that would turn it into a drug or poison or something that you could then
Yep.
use, right? Like do some tinkering with it to get it to that state. But yeah, I think so. I think I don't know. If that sound cool to you, Jamie?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
Very, very cool. All right, so I'm going to roll the fortune dice just to see how Skurlock does, right, and how
Okay.
Penance responds to the administration. So,
What's this? GMs and Blades never get to roll dice.
I know. Oh, we got a 6. We got a 6.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, what that means is you get to put 3 ticks on your healing clock.
Okay.
This is one of the cases where I highly, highly, highly advocate that you spend a coin, because if you bump that stick to a crit, it becomes 5 ticks, which will fill it up completely once, lowering all of your harm by 1, and put another tick on it for the next time.
Yes, what you said is what I would like to do. So does that mean I get to lower drown to a 2, or does that mean that both my level 2s also go to 1?
All of the above. All your harm.
Yeah, everything moves. Yeah.
Okay. Like move everything down.
Like a game of Tetris.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, that's how I think of it. Exactly. Skurlock knocks the level out. The only thing I'd ask you, as a jerk that I am, is like, what does that look like in terms of you making an offering, or blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, with the coin.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah. I can make a suggestion. Like,
go right ahead. Sorry, I was actually moving my harm. I got very excited.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh, and don't forget the extra tick on your clock for the next time, right?
Okay.
So
yeah,
because it carries over.
Yeah.
Right. Oops.
Yeah.
You can also rename the harm now if you want to be like lesser versions. You can leave it, but if you want to be like terrors, just like frightened, you can.
Yeah. And spore poison could instead be like nausea or something like that, like whatever you want to. Call it. But yeah, good points. Yeah, I think what happens is as the medication starts to take effect, you can see Skurlock studying you like really carefully, and you keep seeing his eyes dart towards another part of the cabinet where more of the glasses are like cloaked in shadow. You can tell like he's considering like more medication, like of a stronger kind, but he's not sure if your body can handle it, right? And he keeps looking back and forth and then looking at you and then just waiting, right? So yeah. So what do you say to convince him as you give him this coin that you can handle more?
Yeah, I think that Penance explains that she has been through worse. And I think, gosh, she's going to do this twice in a row, but I think that she takes off her mask because things that she has been through before are visible. And so I think that she takes off her mask. And even though we don't see it, she explains to him that she has seen worse and that she can handle anything he has in that cabinet over there.
I think when you take off the mask, he recognizes how important the moment is. And very gently, like with great care and kindness, he gently puts the mask back on your face. And he says, "My dear, I don't understand why you wear this mask, only that it is important to you. But I will say that what I've seen is beautiful and speaks to your strength." But he will very slowly take more of it, and he'll say, "I will give you more, but Penance, if you start to show signs of any discomfort, I ask that you come see me again to make sure we can take proper care of you. I can't trust Ankh to do that completely on her own."
Neither can I. I will make sure to come back. Right as Ank's walking back in the room.
Totally, absolutely.
It wasn't even a dig as much as like just an honest. Like,
yeah, of course, right. I think there's just a cut to two blue coats sitting outside an interrogation room, and they hear like a really bad thud, and they're just like, ooh, and then it cuts back to us.
Grounder, our Grounder friend.
Poor Grounder. Yeah. Okay, so Ankh, did you also want to get healing from Skurlock, or are you going to?
So here's my question. Normally, the way you help people who are drowned is you give them CPR because you're trying to get them to cough up the water that's in their lungs. It's bad, right? Mm-hmm. Does Skurlock breathe? I think is an interesting question. And even if he does he have some sort of like like bulb kind of contraption that could blow and or suck air? Like I wonder if the way that Skurlock would help remove the air from her lungs, what that would look like, if that looks like Kissy Times or not. I'm just asking because it could. Or it could involve some apparatus that like pumps the water out, Mm-hmm. Super.
Yeah. I think you notice in all the time that you spent with Skurlock that he can breathe if he chooses to, if he remembers to do it for your sake. Because he notices like people get a little disturbed when he forgets to do it. But he needs to. He absolutely needs to, because he's absolutely alive and not undead. But yeah, so but definitely, I'm going to say that there can be Kissy Times involved. So why make a sexy vampire if you can't like have Kissy Times, right?
I mean, I'm just right. Like I'm just saying.
Come on.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think, and so when Skurlock is done with penance, he turns to you, Ankh, and he notices you like struggling to breathe.
Yeah. Would it make sense? I mean, just so that conversation was totally not heard by Ankh, I can totally imagine like Ankh actually being in a different chamber, if that makes sense to you. Like she's in the drowning recovery chamber, even though Penance was also drowning. I don't know. I could see.
Absolutely. Yeah. We can say that's definitely what happened. Yeah. In fact, like Ankh, like you felt like someone or something led you to the room, but you never saw anything. So, but yeah. And then so Skurlock appears and says, "Well, Ankh, it could have been worse." And you can tell like Skurlock somehow has already heard at least the general strokes of what happened this evening. He's very well informed and very well connected. And so as he gently like tends to you and takes a look, he says, "Well, Ankh, it appears that I will have to take care of you." And he's like moving closer and closer as he does it, it's his way of like asking for consent, because he knows that you're a little jumpy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he can read it in my eyes. There's like they kind of go wide and it's apprehensive. And I think that there's a little bit of like, no, I'm fine. Like there's a little bit of like, I just came here because Penance was in such a bad way, because like legit Penance was in such a bad way.
True.
But she's like, no, I'm fine. And then, and then coughs, and it goes from like this like delicate, sensitive to like really, awful, gross noises.
And I think he takes one of your hands and he says, "Now, Ankh, I can only help you if you ask for it." And he's being a little bit of a tease.
Yeah. Right. And I think Ankh gives like one final attempt to refuse him. She's like, I'm fine. And then like heaves, like has like a horrible chest pain. And it is like, okay, I asked for it. And just lets out this like deep, weary sigh of like, I've been trying to keep my crap together. And I think that's when like her her shoulder goes bare, right? Like we see a little bit of Ank's shoulder, and we see like just the edge of the yellow eye of the Lord of the Depths visible.
Man, I'm so jealous. I need to get eye tattoos when it's safe to get tattoos again. Anyway, so and I think when that happens, Skurlock stops for a moment and then places like one of his sharp nails, just not to dig into the skin, but like against the corner of that eye, and he says, I had sensed a change in the nature of power, he says. Like he's very careful about how he chooses his words and how they move from place to place now. Like he's being very vague about it.
Yeah, I think although Ankh and Skurlock are close, I think their closeness is a little bit artificial. I think it came from a family connection when she was like, came here early and she's like, the family of Ankh-Uset has sent me as the emissary to Dustfall. And he was like, oh, come in, dear. And like, she's close to him because her family, like, and that was it, right? And so he's always been really good to her, but she doesn't exactly know why. I mean, she knows that like, oh, my family has connections. And like, but she doesn't know their history. She doesn't like know what's happened between them. So although he's always been really good to her, it's not because of like we've been through thick and thin together. You know, it's like they aren't actually that intimate or haven't been that intimate, even though he's done a lot for her. So she doesn't know why he's good to her, really, other than just like once she realized that he was a lot more than she expected at first, she's like, okay, he can't just be doing a favor. He must have some real interest in her, but she hasn't figured out what that interest is yet. So I think she is a little, just tentative because she doesn't know if she's going to overstep her bounds. She doesn't know what the rules are in this relationship. And so I think when he says that, she like pulls it back and she's like, oh, and like kind of goes wide-eyed again and like and apologizes. Like, I'm sorry, Lord Skurlock, which she never calls him, but she does now. I'm sorry,
Lord Skurlock. Never apologizes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about the implications of my presence in your domain. I can leave. I can trouble you no longer if it pleases you.
And I think when you say that, because it was Lord Skurlock who helped you with the horns, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, 100.
Yeah. So when you do that, he smiles and he says, "No, I regret that I gave you that impression, my dear. I'm just always surprised by your tenacity and your passion," he says. And then he, with his other hand, he like moves towards like the invisible chain that like holds your horns together, and then he like hits a finger against it, and it kind of mimics that same moment when the gong like released this like sound into the ether field, and then we see your golden horns grow.
Someone in the crematorium is going like this.
Spirit Warden is freaking out.
Spirit Warden.
This one guy, I'm gonna look for an NPC picture for this one guy later, right? He's like just overworked and panicked perpetually, especially lately because of you two. Yeah. So I'm gonna make a clock for him anyway.
I think it's fair. That is
fair. I love that.
We do a lot of weird culty shit. It makes sense.
So when Lord Skurlock does that, he says, "I assure you, Ankh, you never have to hide anything from me, and you will always be welcome here. I owe your family that much." And so with that, I think like he says, "Now, be a good girl and close your eyes."
Sorry.
So shall we make that roll?
Yeah.
All right. I agree that it's probably going to be 4. I'm sorry. Did we say 4 last time?
We said 4 because he's tier 3 and a contact. So I get a bonus point for doing stuff.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds good. So rolling with 4. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, another 6.
Nice.
Wow, these rolls.
Good job, Skurlock.
Yeah.
Good job, Skurlocky. Yeah, I think I will do the same thing. I will follow my own advice. I think I'm going to change ground to short of breath. Winded? Winded?
Yeah,
That
sounds
sounds good.
Mhm.
We all know why. We all know why. Onk is a bit wheezy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to spend the 1 coin I have because that's how you do. And I think the way that coin works is that when he kind of mentions my family, I say, I say, I'll ensure their tribute. It continues to arrive, right? And so there'll be some. I don't think it'd be anything so gauche as coin, like here's some cash, but something along the lines of like I'll end up paying one of the other factions that then gives him some aid or something like that. It's some sort of indirect thing, but like the money will end up actually going to like the Aruvian consulate, but that then makes sure that they owe more favors to him, kind of thing. So, because I don't think I'm like, here, Uncle Skurlock, have some gems.
100%. Yeah, that makes sense, I think. Yeah, and so when you say that, he says, of course, that would be most appreciated. But there is, and this is where, like, I think you feel finally the other shoe drop, right? In terms of, like, what he's hoping to get in exchange for his help. And he says, I hear that you're quite close to the Dimmer sisters lately. Is that true?
She sort of like looks at looks in the direction of the boathouse or what she thinks it is. It's probably she's turned around at this point. But she kind of like looks like away, and she says, "Some of them have left. Some of the sisters have left their house and have joined ours. And it was originally very contentious, but we found some common ground. And one of their other ex-members is a mutual enemy of ours. So we found some agreement in this. The relationship is tense, but improving.
I see. Well, then. From one friend to another, he says. And when he says friend, his face is very close to yours, right? And he says, there is something of mine that Miss Blood has taken into her possession. If you could retrieve it at one point, I would be most grateful.
What's the nature of this item?
And he smiles a little mysteriously as he says, it's something of sentimental value, something that's more important to me than it is to her. It's all that I have that remains of a good friend. You'll know it when you see it.
I'm in your service.
Now, Ankh, before I let you go, and he looks very pointedly towards your collarbone where he saw the bits of the tattoo. He says, there are contracts that when are hastily made could be one's downfall. I would ask that you be extremely careful. And he kind of sighs. And he says, I know this may be asking too much because you are who you are. And when he says who you are, he's referring to your family.
Right.
And he says, but when you're in over your head, you'll have to let me know.
I think she's spent enough time with him sort of discussing weird, ghosty, occult shit that it's not super weird for her to say, when I'm back on my feet, I would very much appreciate your insight into a plan that I'm hatching. It's still foggy because my head is foggy, but...
So when you say that, he says, oh, of course. A date it'll be then. I know just the place.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I think him saying I know just the place is and seeing, yeah.
Perfect,
nice.
Perfect.
So we've done 2 downtime actions.
Yay!
Show us. Kristen, you had talked about indulging your vice. Do you want to play that out? You want to do that?
Sure.
Or do we want to cut to the grounder situation?
We can cut the grounder.
Oh no, poor grounder.
I know.
So.
Yeah.
So we have the choice of either paying 3 coin, which we now have, thanks Mateus, and getting him out with superficial wounds. We grease some wheels and get him out, or we let him suffer, but we can resist. We can describe how we resist those consequences, which are +3 heat and level 2 harm, or this is the silent thing that doesn't say in entanglements. We can just say like, fuck that noise. We're going to do a score to bust him out. And like, we're not going to do any of those options. We're going to say, screw you, man. We're coming to your home and we're going to, get him out. I don't think that's what we want to do, because I don't think we want the Bluecoats to hate us and our want levels to skyrocket to the roof and to spend the time with that. I think we probably want to, do one of the lesser options, but just throwing it out there. What do you feel like? And also, like, we should think about what does that look like in terms of what actions we'd be taking to accomplish that.
I mean, Grounder's your other PC. So are you leaning towards anything?
I'm leaning towards letting him take the harm, but resisting him taking the heat, or resisting us getting heat.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think we've sort of played out the. I think we've sort of played out a bit of the battery that he's been enduring already. I think that makes sense, and I'd like to make like a prowess resistance with Grounder to just be like, is that all you got? Like you'll beat me up, but no, I won't. Spill beans.
Yeah.
And I think that. Normally if a character isn't in play for a while and they come back, like if you are lost and you come back, your stress and your harm heals. But I think to make this like land, Grounder should both have the stress he took from resisting this as well as the harm he took from getting beat up next time I play him. So it's not just like, oh yeah, he takes the harm and stress, but like it clears before,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that sound cool to you both?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome. Me too. So I say this because our heat is so close to going to wanted level. Jamie, if I resist the heat, will that resist it completely? Or will we still take some? Like, will I be resisting it down to 2 or 1? Or will I wipe it out? Because that's also kind of important. Because
I understand.
Like, if we don't resist it all, then we're going to wanted level, which is kind of what I want to avoid. But,
Yeah. I think we're still pretty early on in your cultish career That if he resists, it'll be completely gone.
Okay. All right. So let's pull up our sad boy. Let's pull up Grounder. He's got decent prowess. Oh, he already has glancing blows and a cracked rib from our previous
Oh,
score.
yeah.
So he's going to be all the fucked up.
Oh, buddy.
But let's go ahead and roll some prowess for him.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say there's a moment where we see Athea has possessed one of the blue coats that's beating up Grounder.
Yeah. He gets no matter what circumstance, you can spend one stress to avoid consequences from falling, tumbling, or loss of balance. That is not what is happening here. All right, so I rolled a 3, so he's taking 3 stress. What's my harm, Jamie?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I'm trying to. Where did the? I think because I don't want to go into too much detail, but basically, I think some of the other blue coats are holding you down while this one goes to town. You already have a cracked rib, so I'm trying to think of something else.
I was like, oh my god, I forgot.
Right, the other cracked rib. No, I'm trying to. What do we think?
If it's mostly head wounds, something like concussion. If it's mostly, if they use weapons, we could just call it lacerations. If it's real like grisly, if it's just a beating, I mean, just beaten and battered, I think is fine. We don't have to go into all of our.
Yeah, I think that last one makes the most sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they would do. They wouldn't be throwing knives on him.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So he's almost in the penance kind of position right now. I was like, I've got all the harm, all the Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I bet Sophia's besides herself with worry at this point.
Yeah. Well, and his gambling, his vice is gambling, is boxing. Like that's what he does to let off steam, is go boxing, which he is in zero shape to do right now.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, and I think the police officer, same thing. The blue coat.
They are.
Right. The blue coat leans down and grabs Grounder by the back of the head and whispers by the ear, "This is what you get for playing hero." But it's very distinctly not the blue coat's voice.
Mm-hmm.
So Athea's very overprotective.
I have to remember that Penance doesn't know this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And Grounder will never tell her.
He won't?
Not a chance. He's never gonna make Penance on, because I'll see what you did, see what it caused, and Grounder is just those kids, they got enough on their plate. I'm not gonna make their lives harder.
Oh.
True. Aww.
She's going through a lot. She doesn't need my sob story.
Oh, Grounder.
So,
All right. We don't have to save him this time, but if Grounder is ever in mortal danger, Penance is going to rescue him and will drag Onk along.
Yep.
Okay, so is that it for Grounder?
I think so. I think that's it for the entanglement, right? I think I think we basically see Grounder and Sophia. I think we see Sophia there with literally a gang of railjacks, because they want numbers just in case nobody messes with them. And they show up, and railjacks are they're the people's people. The citizens are not going to mess with them. The even the gangs are unlikely to mess with them. But the blue coats might just be assholes because they're assholes. So I think it's Sophia and half a dozen other railjacks that are there. And when Grounder kind of stumbles out, that Sophia's got her shoulder under his arm and is helping him, walk out of there.
Yeah, and I think we see a moment where Sophia seriously considers going in there to but the blue coats are the blue coats, right?
I think there's two blue coats that are just staring daggers at her, and she knows now's not the time. I want to do it, but the moment I do anything, I brought a small gang. They have a huge gang,
Yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah. So I think with that, does someone have an idea for the next downtime action? I know Penance had an idea, right?
Yeah. Why do your vicing?
Yeah. So to reduce stress, I know we did some recovery work here, but
right.
In addition to having level 3 harm and 2 level 2 harms after the last score, Penance also had a lot of stress. I don't know why she's so easily stressed out about things.
Yeah.
So indulge a vice is what I wanted to do with my second downtime action. Specifically, I was hoping to entice Salia with some extra essence and ask her to take me back to, I can't remember if we named it, but it's the location.
The Vale, I think.
Was it the Vale?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the Vale. In hopes that Athea would be distracted enough that Penance could talk with Salia a little bit about possession.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I think so in this place in particular, because there have been a couple, is the Vale. Let me just check the map.
It's down in Night Market.
Oh yeah, the Night Market. Okay. Yeah, so I remember this is the slightly less fancy one, because there was also a ridiculously fancy one in Brightstone.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is a place where there are curtains everywhere, and there are all these little nooks and crannies, all these small rooms or half rooms that are created so that people can go about their vice in peace, right? Totally normal to just enjoy being possessed, and this is Duskfall. Who are we kidding, right? But yeah, so I think Salia this time is wearing the body of. Oh, let me just check our lines and veils real quick. Yeah, I think. Let me know how you feel about this, Kristen. But I think Salia this time is in a very young body, right? Like a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old.
Oh,
right.
As soon as you said, "Let me check," I was like, I hope it's a child. So we're on the same creepy page, Jamie. Go ahead.
Creepy possessed ghost children.
It's fine.
And so this one is a very very handsome boy in this really beautiful dress, right? And then this like Sunday's best kind of situation, right? You can tell that he comes from a rich family. And his dress kind of reminds you of the lace that Skurlock was wearing, right? When you saw Skurlock earlier. And so Salia takes out your hand and is sort of when you're out in public is treating you like you're their caretaker and stuff. And you can tell Salia's having a really good time acting like a kid. They're very good at it. Right? But the moment you enter the Vale, all of that pretense is dropped, right? And Salia goes back to acting like the ageless being that they are, right? And so all of that innocence and childlike exuberance fades from the face. And Salia says, I quite like this body. It takes very, very well. You can tell that he's always wanted to be somewhere else. That's always why. It's always a little easier to possess those who don't quite want to be here in this reality. And you can tell Salia is in a very open mood, very generous, is willing to talk about these things.
Yeah.
So as the two of you settle into a place, and you're there's another table, and so what Salia wants to do is watch other people get possessed or go through those throes. So there's this, if this was one of those Netflix HBO shows, there's a montage of people getting possessed on one side while the two of you are having a conversation, right? So what do you ask them?
Totally normal. I think Penance starts by wants to make sure that Salia is in a good mood and really is in an open mood. And so I think that she takes like a small piece of candy out of her pocket and slides it across the table and is like, don't feed him too much candy before you return the body. But I feel like one more won't hurt.
Oh, it's okay. I can spoil him a little more, they say, as they wink and say, "Ooh, this is one of his favorites." And you can tell like she studies them before she possesses them, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, you know, it's a bit of a relationship, right? They get something out of it, and I get something out of it, and the more I study them, the more I find out and learn what it is they like and don't like, the more fruitful the relationship is. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm surprised that the relationships are so give and take. What is the longest time you've possessed one vessel?
Well, there was one. She wasn't quite ready to face death. So I was with her the longest. That was about, almost 30 years, they say, quite surprised. But they were quite an exception. Most bodies can't handle a possession for that long. She was particularly strong. And just as a reminder, right, like Salia is not aware of what's going on between you and Athea, right? We know that Athea has blocked out the ability for Salia to pick this up. But yeah. Athea isn't here right now, right? So I want to ask you, Penance, you can sense that this is a moment where if you allow Salia to take a look at you, that they'll be able to tell what's going on. Or do you want to keep that secret from them?
Ooh.
What to do if you're really afraid of exposing yourself emotionally?
Blades in the Dark, the musical. Thanks to Sean.
That's the next step. Yeah. TV show and then musical.
Yeah.
And musical.
By season 6, I'm sure the Blades TV show will have a musical.
It will, yes. If they need writers, here we are. Yeah, I think that Penance was kind of hoping for this, and she wasn't sure that she could say anything or connect with Salia and think anything loud enough to let Salia know about Athea, without bringing Athea's attention to it, right? Because Penance doesn't know what the distraction is, how long it'll last. She can't see Athea the same way Athea can see everything going on in Penance. And so I think Penance, in hopes that this would happen, puts her hand on the table again, but flips it so that her palm is up, and she has written on her own hand, "She's here." And then she just looks directly into Salia's eyes, or at least the vessel's eyes, in hopes that Salia will notice.
Right. And so the moment you do that, Salia starts to put 2 and 2 together, like the questions you had, and looks at what's written on your palm. And immediately the child reaches out with both of his small hands and holds your hand. And you can feel, it's not quite the same as Salia possessing you, nothing like that, but you can feel them opening themselves to you, right? And you realize this felt very different from when Athea took hold, right? There's a way that Salia does it that's very open and very giving, in a way that Athea did not give space, did not give a moment, right? And Salia looks at you in the eyes and they say, I'm so sorry and you can see they're racked with guilt. And they're like, I should have protected you. how long has... No. We can't look at the past. I'll do everything I can to help you. And you can tell like they're really serious and they're really incredibly worried. And they ask, your memories, have they started to fade? Can you still remember? And so you realize they're asking you for very specific memories, and because they understand, like, you can't ask someone how much they remember, but they're asking you to like go to a specific, right, like moment. And so Salia understands you, and Salia says, when was the first time you put on the mask?
Ooh, does Penance remember?
I think what you could do is you could look at the clock right now, which is Athea in control, which is 4 out of 6 ticks, right? So it's a little bit past halfway.
Yeah.
If you want to use that as a guidepost. You could even make a fortune roll, and you could roll like 4 dice representing the 4 ticks to figure out if there's missing information or not. If you're like, I don't know, that's, I mean, I think at 6 ticks, like, you're absolutely just Athea's, right? Like, there's not
and I'm already at 4
planets, right? So you still have the ability to reclaim yourself because the clock hasn't filled, but and I mean, even at 6 ticks, it's not like either Jamie or I are going to be like, cool, you don't get your character anymore, but like, I think at 6 ticks you would irrevocably have changed in some way. You would not be the same person in some capacity. But Just my thought in terms of like watching what we've seen so far. And also I think you were at 5, and like Ank's action, I think Ankh did it.
It was Ankh, His grounder failed.
Action to try and like weaken her hold on you, and I got it down, but I rolled terribly and I only got down 1 tick.
That's
so
right. That's
it was
right. It was so close. I know. And I was all gung ho, and we played Blades on hard mode, and then we got close, and I was like, well, maybe.
Hold on, actually,
hold on now. I think with 4, it's everyone calm down. I think with 4, I think Penance opens her mouth to start to explain, kind of a little confused, like as to why Salia is asking the question, and starts to just recount the memory to them in detail, and realizes that she can't. But she does have snippets, so she can like see the mask, and then she can see herself putting it on in the mirror, and she can see herself exiting a building, but she can't piece together everything in between. So I think she shares all of that with Salia.
And then so the moment Salia sees that, they say, I don't know how much time we have left, Penance. I would never wish something like this on you. And the thing is, like, there's a moment when they look at you and they say, have they told you their name?
Yeah, I think Penance opens her other hand, and she has written Athea's name on her other hand, knowing that she wasn't sure how much they'd be able to talk. So I think Penance shows her other palm.
And the moment that Salia sees that, you see them, like, the boy starts to visibly panic, right? There's like terror on his face. And with a shaking hand, Salia reaches out and starts erasing the name on your palm. And they say, out of all of them, it had to be her, the most dangerous of us all.
I think that Penance seeing, Penance has been walking this line, right? With like Athea feeling like she finally could trust someone, and Ankh wasn't available emotionally or physically for so long. And then I think Penance is walking this line of, do I trust Athea? And I think that in this moment, she realizes this has gone too far and she's no longer in control of Athea. Like, it's not this partnership she thought it was. This is like a true possession, right? We're not equals here, Penance and Athea. And so I think that she realizes that, and she asks for help. What can I do?
It will take much, Penance. I will discuss it with the others. And the moment that they speak like that, you notice that everybody else, like, because they're all fully possessed at this point at the table across from you, they all turn. And even though Salia didn't say the name out loud, it's like they all sensed it. And they all looked really, like, they're varying expressions. Like, some look fearful, some look upset, like some look angry even. And Salia says, the next time you can, come see me. But in the meantime, and so let's see. I'm going to roll a fortune roll for Salia.
Okay.
Let's see how much they'll be able to help you in this moment. Considering how long they've been around, considering Athea, I'm going to say like they have 3 dice to roll with. Okay, rolling. Oh no! Athea's so terrifying. Athea's legitimately terrifying. I swear to God.
I'll just make my new Athea character sheet over here.
I was gonna say there is a ghost playbook. You can just pull that out.
Here I go.
Play a new character. Have new
so motivation. I think, yeah. Oh my gosh! I think what happens is like we see Salia like reach back like towards their neck, and you realize that they're wearing like a necklace underneath the dress that the little boy is wearing. And as they take off the necklace and try to put it around your neck, that's when you feel the rush of Athea coming back into your mind, and the pendant just shatters before it can be placed around your neck. And you don't consciously do this, but your hand grabs Salia's hand. Very like, it's not outright violent, but it's very menacing how your hand places Salia's hand back onto the table. And Salia's like unflinching, right? Just looking you straight in the eyes. And Salia says, Penance, no matter what, I will help you. But you can see like Salia so overcome with grief.
Yeah, I think that after that, Penance tries to smile and thanks Salia, and then changes the subject about the little boy and the candy and stuff again, and is still looking directly at Salia, or the boy, but under the table is wiping the writing off of her hands without looking down at it. So
I think you should put another tick on that clock.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm teasing, Sean.
I mean,
you're not wrong.
You should put multiple more ticks on that clock, and you have to make resolve roll to resist it down to just 1. But like, I feel like she's exerting control.
She is exerting control. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah. I think Athea's like, I'm just so terrified of Athea. Every time we roll against her, it always goes badly.
Right?
Yeah. I know you just indulged vice in order to reduce stress, so this really sucks to say, like, now you have to make a resistance roll. But, like, I think it's totally fair to be like, 2 more ticks go on the clock, you're possessed, and you can resist that down to 1 or resist it down to 0 or whatever, but, like, you have to make I feel like you making a resolve roll to hold on makes a lot of sense right now.
It does make sense.
Even though that super sucks, because it means getting stressed, possibly, most likely.
What?
But
no.
I don't.
My no is that it doesn't suck. Like, that's the best part of this game. It's like, even these situations, they're like, it's exciting. It doesn't suck.
But yeah, I agree with Sean. I think it fills the clock, and you can resist to have it be
Okay.
brought down to just one last tick instead, right?
Okay. So when I
yeah,
roll, so I
Yeah.
rolled this.
Yeah, you
This
just click on
feels,
resolve.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it
Ooh,
has to be
which looks
resolved,
good.
right? Like it
Yeah.
can't be. It
I
can't be
think,
anything else.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna attempt to wreck a thing.
Right.
So yes, I think resolve. So I'm gonna pull that up. And so when you resist for bonus die, I can't push myself. Are there
You
doubles?
can, but it's kind of silly to spend 2 stress to get an extra
Right.
die to try and not take more stress. Like you
Right.
can't do it, but
It doesn't make sense. Okay,
it
that
doesn't
makes
make sense.
yeah.
Although, if you ask for it, I'm more than happy to assist you, which I can do from anywhere because we're bound in darkness.
That's
And
right.
I'm happy for for you to be like, okay, I need your help. It feels like Ankh and Penance are in a place where Ankh wouldn't use that against her right now.
Yeah.
In the past, she certainly would have, but right now it seems like that's a place. So if you would like an assist die, I'm happy to give you one.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Cool.
Since this is like for my character's life.
I'm also saying this as a way to prime our next score because I think I know what it is now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So
one
Nice.
bonus die. Okay.
nice. No stress.
Okay.
Oh, so good.
Oh,
so
thank
good.
goodness. Okay.
Oh, so good. So good.
It was the assist. So we're up to a 5. Is that correct?
That is correct. That
Instead
is
of
correct.
a 6. Okay.
Yes.
Athea's just 5-6 in control.
Yeah, and I think the way it looks is like, yeah, with the 6, right? So I think like Penance in this moment, you can feel, and I have to stress, like, even though you can feel Athea exerting more control and her presence is like eating and consuming more of your memory, there's this overwhelming sensation that it's not love, right? Because if she really loved you, she wouldn't be doing this, right? But it is a twisted version, right, of love. Like she is so convinced that she needs to do this in order to protect you. And you can feel this like bleeding through it. She is so convinced that she can make you stronger, strong enough to like destroy all of your enemies, to have the revenge that you want. And you can tell like it's because she too is consumed by vengeance, right? That is the resonance that's happening between the two of you. So Ankh, with that 6, how do you disrupt that resonance, right? That desire for vengeance above all things?
Oh, that's a lovely, lovely question to ask me, Jamie. Thank you. I think, we don't like, this isn't like telepathic, as in I don't experience anything you don't want to share with me. So I don't think I like know everything that's happening, but I think I feel like this pull of a thread, and the ground kind of tremors, and we see Ankh, standing like outside the Eruvian consulate, where like she's going to deliver the coin that's going to help Skurlock, and she's like, she's very nervous about going in because she might see her aunt or someone else, like, and she's failed the Eruvian, so she's like kind of having her own bit of nervousness, and I think when she feels that like snaps to attention, what she sends back, like along that thread, like it's like a telegraph, right? Like it's like we like this, we feel this vibration, and what she sends back is remembering is that moment where you helped her decide on her own what she wanted to do and not do what she just felt like she had to do. Like she was going to fulfill the want of her family because she didn't feel like she had a choice. And like you reminded her that she had a choice. And that is what she sends back to you. Is like she echoes that back to you. Like you have a choice. Like revenge is not foregone. It is not needed. It is not the only thing that like you can choose, rather than be driven by what you feel you need to do. So yes, she kind of mirrors that reassurance that you gave her in the score.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. That's such a 6.
And I
That's
think
really
the imagery is like cutting the book and freeing the demon, right? Like there's a metaphor here of like freeing the demon, like is also the metaphor of like releasing your inner, hang up, your hiccup, right? Like we can let that go. We can let the demon go.
Right.
Because
I
so
love it.
if this was a TV show, they would be talking about it incessantly on Reddit and Tumblr about the about the resonance between
What does
those
the demon
moments.
really mean? And yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, and so yes, I think that's where we are for that scene. Right? Like
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So time check wise, I want to throw like a couple rapid fire ideas out there and then propose we take a break.
Okay.
I've got one more. I've got one more downtime action. I think I want to either indulge. I think I want to both indulge vice and reduce heat. And I'm happy to kind of do those as. I'm happy to do those as like real quick, just rolls. Like I'm going to go to Joel Burden's Shine. I'm going to like get my lit on. I'm going to like. I'm going to go and forget about this horrible shit that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then reducing heat, I want to do this a little differently than normal. I have a cultist, which gives me +1d to command followers of a forgotten god or a demon, and I want to like have Ankh be like surrounded by all these like people, but maybe you can't quite tell if they're people. They're like people of the depths, like they maybe like one of them has like something slithering under a coat, or like the people who are like the forgotten gods followers of the Lord of the Depths.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have +1 status as forgotten gods now, so I want to find like the folks who follow the forgotten gods, especially follow the Lord of the Depths, and be like, you have to like draw the Spirit Wardens' attention away from us. We know the Spirit Wardens are closing in. Yeah. You need to like do weird shit all over Dustfall so that they can't tell where we are. You need to like I don't want them to find the Lord of the Depths. So I need you to like make like I'm going to put him somewhere safe, and you need to like set up all these decoys and signal flares. And it's like this like scary cult meeting where she's brought them together and be like shows them her eyes, and she's like, I possess your master. You will keep him safe and hidden, right? Is that cool if I just like roll those?
Oh yeah.
And then my third thought is I want to score where we find a home for the Lord of the Depths and we trap Athea in it, because the Lord of the Depths is Athea's child, and I want to get you free of Athea and release the Lord of the Depths.
Wow.
If that's
an
cool
ambitious score, and I like it.
I want to do that. So
yeah, very dangerous, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to do a gather information about a possible location. And we can do that after the break or not, but that's my thought. So, okay, real quick. I'm not going to go with my Aunt Nurix to go get high, because that's not cool. I'm going to go with Claudia, my girlfriend, sort of. Definitely.
Yeah.
Kind of, not really, but
we haven't seen Claudia in a while.
Well, she's my I got her on my contact list. She's, I broke her free of the control, and yeah, so I think I'm gonna go get high with Claudia, and so I'm gonna roll indulge vice.
I love that so
boop,
much.
Boop, boop. Where is the button? I know it's right there. Indulge vice. One bonus die. Nice. That's
nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh goodness!
Oh, just underneath. It's a good thing you helped, actually, right? That you got the extra. Yeah. Nice.
All right, and then I'm gonna reduce heat, which I'm gonna roll the action. I'm gonna roll command, and I get +1 die because I am commanding the followers of the Lord of the Depths.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's 2 ticks of
nice
heat, and I think I'm gonna like spend 2 coin out of the coffers to raise that up to a crit, and I'm just gonna be like, here's everything you need. Like, here's the weird spirit like vessels. Like, I'm gonna like be equipping them with shit. Like, here's like we got it from our arcane trafficker, or like Moira is there with me, the spirit trafficker, and she's like, I've given her a bunch of money to like have a bunch of weird signal flares of stuff. I know I'm like fast forwarding over some stuff, but like we can flash back to it later if we want to.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna spend 2 coin. I'm gonna take 5. I'm gonna make that a crit and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boop. So we're down to 3 heat instead of 8. And then the final thing I want to do is, because our hunting grounds is Brightstone, and now it's expanded because we have turf. So we have the flower garden and we have the sanctorium. I want to find a place that the Dimmer Sisters or the Forgotten... Well, no, because the Forgotten Gods are our buddies now. Like, I want to find a place that like can be not only the home for the Lord of the Depths, but also...
Athea. Trap Athea.
Yeah, but also I want to find a spirit well. That's what I want to find. I want to find a spirit well that'll suck a spirit in, because in Utawasha, that's why we don't have a ghost problem, because we have a giant spirit well that pulls all the ghosts into it. And so I'm like, aha, that's how I can do it. I can trap Thea in a big spirit well. And I want to find a spirit well that like is unclaimed, or maybe not unclaimed. Maybe it's claimed by somebody. We're going to take it. But that's what I'm looking for. So I want to make a study roll. Is that what I want to do?
For gather information?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Can I assist with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think it might make way more sense if I tell you, what I'm looking for, and like kind of leave out some of the details, or figure out a way to tell you without Athea knowing. And no, yeah.
Oh, right.
Like it might make more sense if you actually survey than study. Like, study would require us to have like maps or something like that. Whereas I think
survey is like looking, right?
Yeah, I think survey makes more sense here.
Yeah.
If that sounds good to you.
Yeah.
So how about you survey, and I'll assist to give you a bonus die.
Okay.
And then I think we might get. I don't remember the hunting ground benefits off the top of my head, but I feel like it's 1 free downtime action, which this is not. This is just to gather information. But I think it's also. I feel like it's plus 1d on. I feel like it's plus 1d on. You get plus 1d to gather information rolls in your area.
Okay.
And I get plus 1d to gather information rolls about supernatural stuff because of a thing I can't remember. Because of Ghost Mind.
Ghost Mind.
So okay. I say we do this rather than me assisting you. I say we do it as a group action.
Sure.
And we both roll our survey.
We both roll survey, and then do we for gather information rolls? Do we take position and effect?
No, it's just a fortune roll. Well, okay. It can be. What do you think, Jamie? Is this an action roll or a fortune roll? Like, is there a risk if we fuck it up?
Yeah, I think there is a risk.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's our position effect then?
Yeah, I think for this, risky standard makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
With 1 bonus die, is that correct?
Yeah. We get 2. So do you want to take 1 and I'll take the other one?
Sure. Let's do that.
Risky standard. Oh, hold on. I don't want to draw it out too long, but I did tell Skurlock I would bring him in to help me with this. Is it okay if I add a bonus die from?
Oh yeah, sure.
Skurlock, because I like ran it over with him. Okay.
Yeah. And it really came up earlier in the scene, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I just.
Ooh, a 6. Nice job.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Very
So
good.
we get great information about where we can go, and we still have a free downtime action to like acquire an asset. I think I want to like acquire like a super good spirit trap or something like that, like a way to draw it out. But I suggest we go on break now.
Okay.
Awesome.
Let's
Sounds good.
do prep.
Nice. All right, let's go and break then.
Awesome. We'll be back in a few, friends.